Hello! We're back again. Vlogmas day 6. Pretty impressed so far that I've managed to get this far. How are we, guys? Having a good day? Looking forward to the weekend? I am. Hey, Mika. So, today I am going to review a book. Let me do a twizzle. Hopefully this won't go on forever like the bullet journal one did, although the bullet journal was, you know, we were talking about bullet journaling and the method and the book. It wasn't just a review of the book. This is just a review of the book. Hey Sue, hi Prairie. So this book is Draw Your Day by Samantha Dion Baker. I know Sam on Instagram to chat to. She is a lovely girl. She's one of those who, you know, you get the people who bring out a book and then they never answer DMs ever again. Every time I've spoken to her, she's answered me. Not always straight away, you know, she's busy, but she always answers. She always talks to you. She always follows people back. She always engages with her following, and I really like that about her. I try to do that myself, and I appreciate it when others do. So if you want to follow her on Instagram, she is Dion Baker Design, and I have put the link down there, way down there in the description, so that you can, oh, I should do it that way, shouldn't I? Down there in the description. So if you want to follow her on Instagram, you can do. She's really nice. She posts lots of stuff. She's also got a personal Instagram where she posts other things, and she's interesting. I like what she does. So she draws her day, Hobonichi style, if you like, in the 10 by 10 square Moleskine art books, the cahiers. She's been doing it for a long time, and eventually a publisher said, do you fancy publishing some of this? And so she has. And this book, I would put this up there with the creative license. When people say that they want to learn how to start sketching, and they mean that they want to do simple stuff like this, you know, a little bit of sketching, a little bit of watercolour, a little bit of journaling. You know, they want to draw their coffee mug, they want to draw an apple, they want to draw their dog, that kind of stuff. They want to draw the house they live in, or they want to draw the shop they just visited. This is the kind of stuff she does. Danny Gregory's book is very much about, you don't have to be an artist to draw. You don't have to be a journaler to journal. And if you want to do it, just do it. So literally it is giving you permission to do the creative stuff that you want to do, which apparently some people need permission. I've never felt that myself, but apparently it is a thing. This one is less about giving yourself permission and just assuming that you want to do it and giving you an idea of how you can do it and what you can do, because very much it's very linked to journaling and art journaling and everything else, of course. In fact, I would call this art journaling. The minute you say keep a journal, people say, well, what do I write about? The minute you say draw your day, people say, well, what would I draw? Well, you know, Liz Steele draws her morning cup of coffee every single day. She has it in a different fancy little teacup, in a nice little cafe or wherever she happens to be, and she draws her coffee cup every single morning. That's the first thing she does. So you can pick one thing that you do all the time, or you can just pick little bits and pieces, you know. And the thing I like about this book is that nothing is too big and nothing is too small. The book itself is not, it's not quite, I don't think it's quite 10 by 10, but it's almost the same size as the Moleskine books that she actually uses. So the book The book pages in here are almost exactly true to size. I would say probably maybe her picture would be that big. Rather than that big, it would be up there. So you're missing maybe an inch in size all the way around, I would estimate. I haven't actually measured this, but it certainly doesn't look 10 by 10 to me. It looks more like 8 by 8. So you've got really good details. All of her drawings are full size. So she starts off with just a few very simple examples. And straight away you can see how she integrates the very, very, very simple with the quite complex to make something very appealing. So, you know, a beginner might look at this baguette here and go, couldn't even draw that, let alone watercolour it, don't be so silly. But if you look at these leaves, ooh, now those leaves I could draw. Hi Rach. Those leaves I could draw that plant. Might not be able to colour it quite that well, but I could draw that plant. I could definitely draw a piece of lined paper, that I can do. And oh, I like the way she's done, like, instead of just one piece, she's done several pieces on top of each other, and then she's added a shadow. I could do that, you know. It really does give those people who have no idea how to draw. You always get the person who's like, oh, I can't draw a stick figure. Yeah, you can. You just can't draw a very good stick figure, and the only way you're going to get better is by doing it. So just practice, and you'll get better. I promise. She includes silly little things, like she's included her pencil sharpener here. She's an artist, so a pencil sharpener, to me, as a fellow artist, indicates that she had a busy day working on lots of stuff. She had to sharpen her pencil. That's not, oh, I did a quick sketch. That's, I actually sat down for quite a while and did some drawing, to me. But how often would we think to draw our pencil shavings? Not very often, I'm guessing. Although I would. But most people, you know. Would you draw the 2 headache tablets that you took this morning because you woke up with a bit of a bad head? Probably not, but you could. And how easy is it to draw a headache tablet? I mean, they're not exactly difficult, are they? The layout of this, now I don't know if she turned her handwriting into a font for the book, or if she perhaps wrote these out and it's been tidied up, or what. But the layout of it looks like one of her journals, except for the bits that are typed, obviously. They really do look like bits of her journals, and you quite often see she'll be working on a page, and another page will have splotchy bits where she's tested colours and things, and she just works those into the next page. Courtney does it as well. If you're familiar with Little Raven-Ink's work, she will test swatches on a page, and then when she gets to that page, she'll just incorporate it into the design of the page. So I like that. She uses her books very well. And she starts off with the basics, you know, getting started, the benefits of drawing, creating a drawing practice, so how to make sure you do it, celebrating your mistakes, something a lot of beginners struggle with. Then, I mean, you're not even up to page 30 before she starts talking about tools and materials. So usually that's the first page, isn't it? Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a sharp pencil, one of these and one of these, and here's how you do toning boxes. And it's not very user-friendly. This is much more, you know, this is why I do it, this is what it is. This is what I did when I was at college. I had a big book and I used to sketch in it all the time. I think a lot of us were like that. Most of the people I know now who are either journalers, art journalers, or wannabe art journalers or journalers, record keepers, for want of a better word, are the kind of people who used to carry a notebook around them when they were in college. Always had a notebook with them, always writing things down, always doodling stuff. And for a lot of us, we just got out of the habit. And this is a good book if you are one of those people who kind of got out of the habit, but you really would like to get going again. Because you know you can do it, you just need some practice, and you need a bit of an oomph, and you need a bit of motivation. This is that book. I think Danny Gregory's book is more for people who have never been creative and don't think they are creative. Whereas this book is for people who have that creative itch, and they know it's there, they just can't quite get going with it. Hi Maria. BD, nice to see you. So she talks about how she started drawing, obviously how her journaling practice has changed over the years, how she transitioned from just writing in her journal to, hey, hang on a minute, why don't I just draw in it? So she went from being a written journaler to adding in things like letter forms and patterns and drawing the occasional bird and bits of design work that she was doing. And then she thought, instead of writing out my day for my journaling practice, why don't I illustrate it? So it was a natural progression for her. It wasn't just, oh, Hobonichi is a thing and they draw in their Hobonichi and they do cute stuff, so I want to do that too. It was more of a progression for her. And I think a lot of people get to that point where we have a notebook that we write things down in, and we keep notes in, and we stick photos in, and we stick bits and pieces of memorabilia in. We maybe do the occasional doodle or sketch, and then at some point when we hit adulthood, it's kind of no longer acceptable to have a little doodly book that you carry around, and you have to be a grown-up and have a Filofax or a planner or whatever and do the adulting things. And for a lot of people, they miss having that creative outlet and they want to get back to it. This is how you get back to it. And she goes from doing very elaborate things like this tin of Earl Grey tea that was a gift, to a feather that she found, a bunch of lavender that she picked. So there's no limit to how big or how small she goes. And here's examples. So here's Lower East Side Tenement Museum and an old cross-eyed kitty on the Atlantic Avenue. So she drew the paper, she drew the cat, she has a note about the opening hours of the store, she drew the storefront, she's put in the weather, lettered the date, done some doodly flowers, torn paper from a feed postcard. So she's added some collage to this as well to fill in space, done the kitty. That's quite a big thing to do. That's not a beginner piece. But then you turn the page and what's she done? She's drawn her paint palette. That is a beginner piece. And around the outside she's written notes, almost bullet journal style. And this is what appealed to me about it, because it's almost like an illustrated bullet journal. Around the outside she's got notes about what happened. Thursday, ortho, after school treats, 7th grade picnic, M in Ohio, boys watch TV with no agreement from mum. So just short bullet points about what happened during the day. I completed my palette June 15th, 2017. So she's obviously been buying up stuff to put in her palette and she's finally got the full one. So she painted the palette. Other stuff that you'll pick up from this is really simple ways of doing lettering. She literally, she's like me, she writes and then she thickens bits up and then occasionally she'll swipe a bit of watercolour over the top of it or colour it in or outline it. There's nothing crazy about how she does her lettering, although she is a designer and she does do, I don't know if she's a graphic designer or a web designer or like an illustrative designer, but she does a lot of typography and font facing and things like that. Here's another very simple one, a hydrangea and some fireworks. Looks complicated on the surface, but when you actually look at it, it's really just outlines of leaves with lines on. Anybody can draw a leaf. Especially if you're looking at a leaf, it's hard not to be able to draw a leaf. The flowers are just 4 petals with pointy bits, 2 bits of colour, where she's literally coloured it all in pink and put yellow blobs in the middle, and they're not even entirely in the middle. And then this is just streaks of watercolour. So it looks very impressive, But actually what she's done is very simple, and it probably didn't take her very long because she's quite accomplished at it. Now, as a beginner, that might take you an hour or more. As an actual illustrator, it probably only took her 10 minutes. She talks about the benefits of drawing and writing. And she has a very similar attitude to me and to my other hero illustrator, Chris Mould. He's Chris Mould Inc. on Instagram. She talks about how it's acceptable to play with colour and drawing and stuff when you're a kid, and somehow it becomes not acceptable when you're an adult unless you're taking it very seriously. And she wants people to get out of that mindset and understand that playing with colour and drawing and doodling and things like that is a creative outlet, and we should all do it. We should all have a go at it. If we have that urge, we should go do it. We shouldn't feel guilty for it. And Chris Mould, actually, one of my favourite quotes from him, he did an interview with Shu Rayner, which you can find here on YouTube. If you look it up, it's on Shu's channel. Shu asked him, what do you say to people when they say, how did you start drawing? And Chris said, actually, I usually tell them, I didn't start, I just never stopped. Everybody draws as a child. Everybody, pretty much without exception. But when you get to be an adult, you don't always keep it going. And I did. I never stopped drawing. And here's where I am now. And I'm the same. I didn't start drawing one day. I didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I think I'll draw. I was a child who drew stuff, and I kept doing it. I never stopped. Sam has the same attitude to it. And she says, you know, she says the same thing as me. If you haven't drawn since you were a child, expect to draw like a child, because you've got some catching up to do. You've got some practice to do. Books and plants. Books and plants. I love this one. She just wrote books and plants twice. All children are artists. The problem is how to remain an artist once he or she grows up. Pablo Picasso. There you go. He was there too. This is another example of a page where she's gone for the big and the small. Anybody can draw a cloud with a sun and write what the temperature was. Maybe you don't have such beautiful handwriting as she has, but you're never going to have beautiful handwriting if you don't practice. So just deal with having ugly handwriting and just write slower. I'm angry at myself for stopping with drawing. Don't be angry with yourself. It's not your fault. Society, because I know that you're Dutch, so I know, you know, although I'm British, we grew up in the same environment. Society in general classes things like art and music and drawing and dancing and stuff like that as childish. They're not real jobs. They're not what adults do. We are conditioned to pretty much drop this stuff the minute we leave school. It is perfectly acceptable, or, well, not always perfectly acceptable. I used to get in trouble for it. But you can get away with doodling in class a lot more easily than you can get away with doodling in a business meeting. You try doodling in a business meeting, see how fast you get told off. I used to say that it was the only way I could concentrate and then repeat back what they'd just said. And eventually they left me alone because it proved that I was actually listening. And then I started drawing my meeting notes, and then I found sketch notes, and I was like, yes, let's do this. Anyway, again, a very simple leaf, a simple what the weather is illustration, super simple bird. Look at that bird. Look how simple that bird is. I don't think there are many people who couldn't draw that bird and have it at least look like a bird. It might not look like a good bird. It might not look like a cute little bird like this one, but it'll still look like a bird. And that's the object, is to make it look like a bird. As you practice, as you go on, you can learn to make cute birds, or accurate birds, or lifelike birds, or whimsical birds, or cartoon birds. But start with just being able to identify it as a bird. That's a win, okay? And that's how she talks about it in the book. Another benefit to keeping a visual journal is the sheer enjoyment of looking back at a completely unique record that you've created. I think that's something that a lot of people miss. They put so much emphasis on the, how am I going to do it? Oh, it's not going to be perfect. Oh, but what if I mess up? Oh, but I'm not very good at drawing. That they miss out on the benefit of just being able to look back at it in a year and go, wow, look how much I've improved. Oh, I remember that day. Oh, I remember that manicure. Draw your fingers with your nails. Draw your manicure. It's not hard. Even if you put your fingers on the page and draw around your page, draw around your fingers and then draw in your nails and then draw in the colours. You know? That is a good creative outlet and representation of what you've done. It doesn't have to be a realistic hand. It just has to look like your manicure. When you look at it, you go, oh, I remember that manicure. Such and such did that for me and it lasted for ages. You know? Or, oh, I really liked that manicure, but I hated the colours and it was far too long. Do a swatch of the nail polish you used. Yes. Absolutely. Take your journal with you to your appointment and get a swatch of the colours. And write down the names of the colours. Got in trouble for scribbling in the margin of a page in class. That was a sad day. Oh, I was always in trouble. It's the title and name of the book, and also the author and her Instagram link are all down there in the description and in the title of the video. All of it. Thank you, Cody. Yeah, swatch them. Swatch your lipstick. Tip, if you swatch lipstick or makeup or anything greasy, swatch it and then put sellotape over the top, or book tape, book plastic, you know, the clear plastic, something like that, because it will come off everywhere otherwise. But yeah, swatch your lipstick and stick a bit of sellotape over it. Bought a new lipstick today. This one is actually, this is a piece of paper, and then she's continued doodling the pattern. So she's carried on, this is a piece of paper here, and she's kind of carried on with the pattern, just doodling it outside. She's finished off the leaf, finished off the heart, added a bit here. Again, a lot of writing on this one. Some, I don't know what that is. It might be a sign for somewhere she ate. Looks like she ate somewhere, so perhaps that's a sign. A car. Gosh, that's a really good little car, isn't it? I could never draw a car like that. I can hear you saying it. You know what? If you actually look at this car, the perspective is completely off. There is no way that car is flat on anything. The wheels are in perspective, but if you actually worked out the perspective, the back wheel is too small. This part of the bonnet is far too long and it's stuck up in the air. Does it matter? No. You look at it and you go, oh, what a cute little beetle. What a lovely little car. I wish I could draw like that. Well, guess what? You can, as long as you accept the fact that sometimes you're going to make mistakes with perspective. I wasn't saying that. I thought I could never draw a car like that. Yeah, exactly. But you could. There's a great little, I don't know if she still does them, but there's a great little zine by Andrea Joseph on Etsy. I've got one actually. I'll have to dig it out. It's really funny. It's called How to Draw Like a Nut. And it is a tutorial on how to draw peanuts. But it's not how to draw a peanut. It's how to draw like a nut. Implying drawing like a lunatic, drawing like a crazy person, drawing like crazy, you know, practicing like crazy, of course. But also, you're not drawing a nut, you're drawing something that's like a nut. takes away the fear of perfectionism. You're not trying to make it look like a peanut. You're drawing something that's like a peanut. It's a very clever title, actually. It was a very clever concept. Again, very simple things. This is a early fall cold. She had a cold, so what did she draw? Oh, look, she drew her headache tablets and her vitamins. I told you, vitamins are easy. Look, one circle, two straight lines and a curve. Add a bit of colour. I bet they're not even that colour. She's painted them like pink and orange. I bet they're not even actually that colour. Hi, Rena. Kiss the page after you put your lipstick on and do it again at the end of the day to see how well it stays on. You could, yeah. Or you could do it every so many hours or something. After food, after eating, after drinking, after 1 hour, after 3 hours. See, that's creative. That's a really good idea. You could do a whole panel on your lipsticks. And do it every day. Do a little corner every day. That's one corner of your page that you can chop out every single day you've already done. It's capturing the essence of things, not trying to draw a picture. If I wanted a picture, I'd take a photo. Exactly. Thank you, Burgess. That's what I always say. If I wanted to capture an accurate portrayal of what's going on, I'd take a photo. That's why I photograph my dogs so often, because I can't draw them as fast as I want to, because the minute I try and draw them, they'll move. So I take a photograph and then I draw from the photograph. But, you know, my copper coffee is not going to get up and walk away anytime soon. So I can sit and draw my cup of coffee at my leisure. I can find a picture of a piece of lemon and draw a lemon slice. And yet it looks very impressive when you put it all together. Half of what makes this page impressive, apart from her very neat writing, which she writes in capitals a lot, and I think that helps. But she is also a letterer. This is what she does for a living. She does typography, so, you know. Half of what makes this really impressive is not what she's drawn or how she's drawn it. Well, it is how she's drawn it. But it's the fact that she's overlapped things. It's not... A beginner would tend to do, I'll draw a pill. I'll draw the turmeric, I'll draw a lemon, I'll draw some St. John's wort, I'll draw a piece of ginger. What she's done is overlapped, so the coffee cup is overlapped with a teaspoon of honey, which is overlapped by the lemon, which is overlapped by a tissue that also overlaps the ginger. So you're creating depth and perspective simply by overlapping things. And here is a really cool tip. If there is something that you're drawing and you've got one section of it that you just cannot get right, it's not going to happen. It just doesn't work. No matter what you do, you're just getting more and more frustrated. Overlap it with something else. Draw something else in front of it so you can't see that bit and you don't have to draw it. Top tip for you. So if you can't draw, maybe you struggle with that bit of perspective on the handle. Maybe that's why it's got a spoon there. Maybe she did that bit of the handle and she couldn't get the bottom of it right, so she drew a spoon across the top. I used to follow the lines in my graph notebook and create shapes with them. Oh yeah, I used to do that too. And doing random swirly things and then colouring in bits so you couldn't have two colours together. And you had to use as few colours as you could. And if you did it right, you could do it in black and white. I used to do that. Who couldn't draw a plain dress like that? I'll tell you what, most of that dress, the trick is actually in the watercolour. And the watercolour is actually not that difficult. What she's done there is used what we call wet in wet technique. You'll hear this referred to a lot. She's drawn the dress, she's done the watercolour in the light blue, and then while it's still wet, she's gone in and she's dabbed. Sorry, let me get my autofocus working. I turn it off for class because it annoys me flickering in and out. Here we go. While it's still wet with the pale blue, she's gone in with dark blue and she's literally just added circles. And that's why it looks impressive. But when you hear that and you're like, well, oh, all she did was drew the dress, like 2 lines, bit of cross, put in a bit of gathering, couple of buttons, added a belt, painted it blue and then dabbed in some dark blue. You kind of feel cheated when people say, well, that's all you do. I know a lot of people say, but that it can't be that simple. It is that simple, honestly. And if you don't feel confident with watercolour, guess what? You don't even have to colour it in. Or you could use pencil. Or you could just draw in pen. Or you could just draw in pencil on its own. You don't have to make it complicated. You don't have to make it difficult. On a hanger, you don't have to put a body shape under the dress. Yes, exactly. Good, well spotted. Yes. You don't have to worry about, well, what's going to happen here. All you have to do is go, well, where's the end of the hanger? Okay, that's going to drop off there. Here's the end of the hanger. That's going to drop off there. That's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. Good point. Well spotted. You'll notice also she doesn't do fancy shadows. Everything just has a shadow. It either has a shadow like this, where it's a light shadow with a darker bit, or it's just literally just a grey line underneath what she's drawn. You see it on this page better. See? Just a grey splosh under what she's drawn, just to show, give it a bit of depth. And it's not even consistent, because that shadow means the light's coming from that direction. That shadow means it's coming from that direction, and that shadow means it's coming from that direction. So she's not even keeping it consistent on one page. She's just drawing and shoving in a shadow and going, there you go, it's got a shadow now. I like this page because this is so complex and architectural, and then this is also simple. Raindrops. Do not sit there and tell me you could not grab a pen and draw raindrops to show that it's raining. Don't. I don't want to hear it. If you can't do that genuinely, you don't really want to, in my opinion. If you really think you can't draw a raindrop, then you don't want to. She's got some examples of writing and how she does it. So a simple title, adding an extra bit for the colour, or for the date to make it stand out, or adding colour to the bits. Another very simple page. She does things like this, where she does headers, shower time soapy suds. Just whimsical little things. Raindrops are hard for me. Cody. Don't give me that. Just don't. A raindrop's a raindrop. Look, it's not even, hers aren't even symmetrical. Look at those raindrops. They're not even symmetrical. They're just blobs. Ah, okay. You're dyslexic, so they want to be upside down or inside out. Fair enough. I get that. Also dyslexic. I have a similar issue with arrows. Making arrows go the right way. Left and right we're not good with. Telling the time, getting numbers right. We have to think about it. But what's wrong with saying, okay, this is what I want my raindrop to look like. You draw one, and then all you do is copy that raindrop. Will it be hard? Yes. Will you have to think about it? Yes. Will it be good practice? Absolutely. When in doubt, draw your pencil. Oh, actually, Oh, that sets my teeth on edge. That's the one thing I can't stand when I go to the dentist. I'm not scared of going to the dentist. I'm not scared of injections. I'm not scared of pain. None of that bothers me. That thing scares the bejesus out of me. That hook. I don't know why. I can't have it near my teeth. And I always say to them, don't bring that hook thing near me. Serious phobia about that hook. I don't know why. Simple patterns. Floor tiles in a cafe. Would you think to draw the patterns of a floor tiles? A lovely wooden box. That's a more... it's the sound that bothers me at the dentist. Yeah, I don't like the way they tell you what they're going to do. Oh, I'm just going to go in and rip your tonsils. Oh, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I don't want to know what you're doing. Just do it. Don't make it hurt. Hi, Arthur. This is a more advanced type of drawing, obviously. She's really got wood grain going on here. She's obviously an accomplished artist, or at least an accomplished watercolorist to do that. Fantastic perspective. Fantastic proportion, making sure that everything fits. Obviously this is done by an artist who is well practiced, but there's no reason you couldn't do a simple version of this. No reason at all. You're one of the ones that like to know if you know what's coming, you're not scared. No, I don't want to know. I just want them to get on with it. There's no reason you couldn't draw the flat version. So instead of trying to draw your pencil sharpener, I'm going to draw my pencil sharpener. I'm going to draw it like this. Look, this is how it looks to me on the table. So that's how I'm going to draw it. Well, yeah, you could. Or you could just turn it sideways and do a simple flat section. Would that be a lot easier? Yes, it would. Oh, I don't know if I can draw that handle. Well, okay, don't draw the handle. Draw it from the front. You know, you don't have to draw everything the way you can see it looking at it right now. You're allowed to move stuff or move yourself. And the more you practice stuff like that, the more you'd be able to look at something like that on the desk and go, oh, well, I'm going to draw it flat. I'm going to draw it in 2D. I'm just going to draw the front panel, that bit of the panel sticking up. You'll see the handle. You'll maybe see that bit of ruler. And that's it. That's all I'm going to draw. A lot of not being able to draw is thinking that you have to make things look perfect, or that you have to make things look beautiful, or that you have to make things look as good as X. I've seen some very, very successful artists, particularly in the urban sketching community, and this is why I love urban sketchers. There are some extremely successful urban sketchers. And if you really look at what they're doing, they're not actually doing very much. Most of what they do is scribbles. And a lot of what they do is just sloshing colour wherever they feel like it. They're not actually illustrating like this. So if you're not reaching your own expectations in terms of what you want to be able to draw, maybe you lower your standards a little bit. Set an easier goal. Learn to draw your pen. Learn to draw your desk with the right perspective. Play with colour. That's always fun, playing with colour. And it never gets old. It doesn't matter if you've done a swatch in your journal yesterday. You'll have learnt something from that and you'll do something different today. Do a swatch of every single medium that you've got, that you already own. And then all the ones that you buy because you think, oh, I really need that. Do a swatch of all your washi tapes. Draw all your washi tapes. How about that? Don't necessarily, oh, I can't do the perspective of a roll of washi tape. Well, okay, draw the piece of washi tape, draw around the end of your ruler to get straight lines, and then do the design of the washi tape. Make things easier until you can do it, and then make things a little bit harder. Bubble writing. Who didn't do bubble writing at school? Don't tell me that you can't do bubble writing. Everybody did bubble writing at school. What's wrong with using it now? Oh, well, it's not grown up. It's not lettering. It's not brush script. It's not this. It's not that. Who cares? It's your journal. Do what you want to do. Yeah, we talked about Danny Gregory's books. I think Danny Gregory's book, The Creative License especially, which is the one I would put with this as the 2 books for beginners. Danny Gregory's book is more for people who don't think they are creative and learning to love your scribbles. Nowhere near perfect. I'm just going to do something, and if it vaguely looks like a dog, I'm going to pretend it's my dog. Whereas this is a little more polished, I guess. This is more for people who already can do a little bit of drawing and just want to get better or improve or do something with it, do something creative. Because it's surprising, there's a lot of people who surprise themselves by actually being able to draw. I love this book just for the illustrations, to be honest. Even just for the illustrations, it's beautiful. Look at that cat. She obviously couldn't, well, I'm not going to say obviously, but if you struggle with drawing the face of a cat, of your cat, so that it actually looks like your cat, or so that it's even on both sides, or so that both halves of the head look like they belong on the same cat, just draw half the head. It's the same principle. If you can't draw a bit, put something in front of it. If you can't draw, I hear this a lot because everybody seems to think they have to be able to draw faces in their journal. It's all about the pretty faces, which I get, kind of, but it doesn't have to be pretty faces. People often say, oh, I'd like to draw faces, but I can never get the eyes right. I can never get the eyes even. I can never get the nose right. My faces always end up wonky on one side. Well, so only draw half a face. There's no rule that says you have to draw both sides of the face and it has to look perfect. Draw half a face. What's wrong with drawing your own face, whichever side of your face that you can do, and then putting a book in front of it so you don't have to draw the other side? Or putting a door in front of it so you don't have to draw the other side? Or putting a glasses case in front of it. Oh, I went to have my eyes tested today, and look, I can't draw 2 eyes, but I'll put my glasses case in front of this, so all I have to do is just do a bit of hair at the top. Yeah, hide the bits you can't draw. Trust me, professional artists do it all the time. Drawing by interesting road signs, that's something you wouldn't necessarily think of doing if you're out and about. Drawing an interesting road sign you saw. And the good thing about that is you can take a photo of it and draw it when you get home. So you don't have to be sat in the cold and the rain drawing a road sign. Or, you know, if you're sat in the car you can do it, but maybe you see it, you're going on the bus and you see this really interesting road sign, you think, oh, that would have been cool to draw. Take a photo of it. You've got your phone with you. Everybody's got their phone with them all the time. Snap a quick snapshot on your phone. Draw it when you get home. There's no rule that says you can't do that. Look at this receipt. I don't think there's anybody who couldn't do that receipt. The only bit of this receipt that is actually anything, it says Blick Art... Blah, blah. Blick Art Scribble Scribble, and then the rest of it is just lines, but it's very cleverly broken up lines. Let me see if I can get my camera to focus. Sorry, I'm on manual focus because the jiggling in and out of focus drives me a little bit berserk. See what she's done? She's done, these are obviously headers with a line underneath, and then she's got obviously the items which are broken up. And then, obviously, this is the price. Well, you can do that from a receipt. You can see what the receipt looks like. You know what a receipt looks like. Receipts generally look the same. Place, the stuff you bought, the price it was, how much you paid, how you paid, and a little barcode at the bottom. It's nearly always exactly the same. And all this is lines. And that piece of paper isn't even. Look, The fact it looks like a genuine piece of paper because it's wonky. The top of the paper is not the same width as the bottom of the paper. You would think if you were going to draw a piece of paper you'd draw it square, but she's deliberately not done that. And then she's deliberately not made this angle the same as this angle. This is obviously a corner where it's folded up or something, or it's bent up. And then all she's done is added a bit of layering, a bit of shadowing, and it looks like a real object sitting on the table. I don't think there's anybody who couldn't do that. And if you doubt me, ask your nearest 5-year-old. Show them that page and say, could you draw that? And they'll go, yeah. In fact, ask a 5-year-old if they can draw anything. Can you draw an elephant? Yeah. Might not look like an elephant by the time they've finished. But hey, you know, yours might not look like a receipt by the time you've finished, but at least you've had a go. Some things you can draw or write about on ordinary days. This is for you. I don't have anything to write or draw about. I need a prompt. I don't know what to draw. A coffee can or bag. A tea bag or box. Your favourite coffee mug. Your food. Favourite sweet treats. Items from the grocery store. Cans or bottles. Flowers, trees, plants, leaves, bugs, birds, animals, the mail in your mailbox, the weather, bikes. She includes things like song lyrics. This is great for placing your illustration in time. Especially, you know, maybe if you really like the current #1, which is relevant for me actually, because the current #1 is Pink. I absolutely love that song. It's such a beautiful song. I'm a huge fan of Pink. So sometime in my journal, I'm going to be putting some lyrics from that song, maybe a bit of a doodle of Pink, or, you know, maybe something that represents her or something like that. Might doodle her name with her exclamation mark the way she does it. Something like that. A portrait of a friend you had lunch with. Well, there's also no rule that says you have to draw. So why not take a photo of the friend you had lunch with? Take a photo with the friend you had lunch with. Take a selfie. Because you should be in your own journal. Don't give me that, oh, but I don't like having my photo taken. Who's going to look at it? Who's going to care? Take a photo with your friend and then draw your food. Or draw the place you went to. Or draw the sign of the place you went to. Draw the menu on the table. Draw your cup. Lots of different ways to integrate this stuff into what you already do. You don't have to go all in and go, oh, I'm going to draw everything all the time. Just draw occasional stuff. Van Gogh, if you hear a voice within you say, I cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. How do you prove you can paint? Well, you just paint. I love this because it shows how she builds up a page. Even if you don't feel confident to colour or paint, or you feel like you need to do things in pencil first and then go over it in pen, what's wrong with that as a page? Nothing. Is it finished? No. Does it look finished? No. Does it matter? No. It's got a date. It's got a coffee cup. It tells you something. It tells you the sun shone. It tells you there was rain. It tells you she went somewhere that she saw some pretty plants. She went somewhere and got a coffee, and on the coffee thing is cultivate kindness. So I don't know, maybe she went to the hippie quarter and had a coffee. Maybe this is the door of the cafe that she went to, or the door opposite the window of the cafe she was sat in. It still tells a story, and that's all this is. It's telling stories. And everybody can tell stories. Everybody can tell stories, because everybody can tell somebody else about what happened to them today, or about that lunatic that cut you off, or, you know, about that weirdo at work who's just so peculiar, Or guess what happened at such and such, and guess what little Tara did at preschool today. And the cat did the funniest thing the other day. It's so bizarre. We all tell stories all the time, so don't tell me you can't tell stories. My mum doesn't do small talk, and even she can keep a journal. So that's a lovely picture of a dog. Now that is an advanced drawing. You might look at that and go, "Oh, I don't think I could do that." Honestly, I'm looking at that going, "Oh, I don't think I could do that," because foreshortening is hard, people. Foreshortening is where instead of drawing a hand like that, it shortens because it's angled. That's foreshortening. Hands are hard. Foreshortened hands are really hard. Foreshortened dogs are also really hard. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do that, because I don't think I could do that. But it wouldn't stop me having a go. And that's the secret. And that is what this book encourages. It wouldn't stop you having a go. Draw your favourite drink. Fanta. 2 Fantas on our first day. This is just doodles and flowers and rain. Didn't do anything because it rained. This book is really good just as eye candy and just for ideas, but she also has things like this which are lettering options that you could literally copy. You don't have to be the greatest letterer in the world, you know. Oh, I like these squirrely arrows she does. I might try one of those sometime. I like these block arrows. I might try those. I like the way she mixes capital letters and then does cursive underneath. I might try that. I like the way she does one word bold. I might try that. It's all about just trying stuff. If you don't try, you'll never be able to do it. That's dead certain. But if you do try, you probably will be able to do it, and you might actually be able to do it quite well after a while. So, get practicing. This has inspired me to try drawing my dogs more often, because actually these are very simple drawings in terms of how she's done them. It's still just an outline with some clever colouring, but her perspective is so good on foreshortening. Look at that cat. That's just got the whole pose of the cat down. The whole personality of that cat. That cat's coming in for a boop, isn't it? It's coming in for a head boop. You will bump my head, human. Super simple bits of foliage. It's literally just triangles. She hasn't even drawn a stem. It's just triangles that look like bits of foliage. So, if this is making you think, oh, I want to have a go at that. I'm not that good. I don't think I'm quite that good, but I want to have a go. I honestly suggest getting hold of this book. It's not very expensive. Go follow Sam on Instagram. Her information is down there in the description. And just try. See how you get on. You might find after a week that you're like, oh, I don't fancy doing this. Maybe you're a written journaler and you just think, oh, well, you know, occasionally I'd like to be able to draw something just when I feel like it. Maybe you'll make a habit of it and be like Liz Steele and draw your teacup every morning. Maybe you'll start a whole series of these sketchbooks and draw this all the time. Maybe you'll just draw occasionally. Maybe you'll do weird things like Sam and I do, of drawing pictures of the pictures they've drawn of the picture of their book. Yeah, I do that too. I draw pictures of my journal in my journal. I got this on Amazon, so this is available on Amazon internationally. It says here US $16, but I definitely didn't pay that much for it. 22 in Canada, obviously, in different currency, different dollars. I probably need to try and write or draw all these random stories in my journal instead. Yeah, why not? I do that a lot. I don't necessarily draw. In fact, I very rarely journal this is what we did today, unless it's something special that we did or something that I want to remember. An awful lot of my journaling, my written journaling in my journal, is me just working through stuff, or just, you know, whatever happened to come to mind, or, oh, today I remembered such and such when this happened, and I don't remember when it was. It must have been the early 80s, I think, and such did this, that and the other, and I remember there was this other girl, but I can't remember her name, but she had really long hair. You know, that's the kind of stuff I write in my journal, just stuff that comes up that I think, oh, I should write that down. Just random stuff. I don't have any kids, or, you know, I don't really go anywhere to take photos or anything like that. 90% of the photos in my journal are my dogs or me. Anyway, this was supposed to be a quick one today, and oh look, it's an hour. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's a good book if you are kind of interested in creativity and think you might want to have a go at this kind of stuff, or just would like some really beautiful stuff to look at and go, oh, one day I'm going to have a go at this. Then go and get this book. Highly recommend it. If you are still at the stage of, oh, I could never do that, I can't even draw a stick figure, and even if I could, then, oh, you know, I don't really have time to draw, and I don't really feel like I'm worthy of drawing, and once upon a time my school teacher told me I should never ever do art, then go and get Danny Gregory's book first and get this one later. Creative License, Danny Gregory. I've done a video reviewing that one before, fairly certain it's shorter than this. Check it. If you just put Danny Gregory and Romany into the search bar, it will come up, because I always put the name of the book and the author in the description. Got an entire scrapbook dedicated to just my cat. Yeah. Yeah, me too. My cat's the only thing I take photographs of other than me and my artwork, so I should take more photos, but I'd rather draw stuff. That's the way I am. I'm going to go now. Vlogmas, day 6. We've almost done a week. Woohoo! Tomorrow I'm going to do Vlogmas, obviously. What have I got on the list for tomorrow? Let's have a look. I think it's procrastination tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that Saturday instead. Oh, I did that joke yesterday. Damn it. Yeah, procrastination, why I do it and how I stopped. This was something I learned from the bullet journal method, so that will be interesting to go into. I did have something written down for Saturday, but Saturday is going to be quite a busy day for me. I have a class, I am out all day at an Urban Sketchers meetup, and then we're all going for Christmas dinner, and I won't be home till late because there's football and I won't be able to get a parking space. So Saturday's YouTube video is literally going to be a few minutes. I already have something lined up that is going to be a couple of minutes. So it might be that by the time you get the notification saying I'm online, I've already finished. Just to give you a heads up, because that doesn't happen very often, I know. But it is entirely possible that by the time you get the notification, I'll have finished, because I plan on it being like no more than a couple of minutes at most. We'll try, eh? See you tomorrow for day 7 of Vlogmas, 1 full week. Another 2 days and I've beaten my record. Yes. Thanks for joining me, guys. See you soon. Bye.